All right, we're live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hangout with Mentors. We show up every Wednesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We tried 8 for a few weeks, and it just doesn't work to switch the time. It's been so long, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. So every Wednesday night at 9 p.m., we will show up right here. You can find us at unstoppablementors.com in case you're watching the recording. And for those of you that are here with us live, welcome, welcome. We have a loyal, same audience every week, and then different people show up. And we appreciate your input, especially tonight. I'm going to ask you to engage with us. The more you engage with us, the more value that we can give. The really cool thing about what happens in these weekly episodes is we talk about something valuable, something thought-provoking, sometimes strategies that you can apply immediately to your business, sometimes both your business and your life. And the way that it comes out in this platform, in the discussion format, just puts it together in a different perspective, and we're able to give you more value. So that's kind of the different perspective that this brings in this panel kind of format. And I just love when people join on the panel and interact and engage and add to the topic. So tonight's topic, interestingly enough, as I was preparing for it, we decided last week during the discussion of the simple funnels and the anatomy of the simple funnel. And then there was a lot of talk and training on lead generation last week. It just made sense to come to this topic because the way that we break our marketing down is in 3 simple steps. Just like too often we overcomplicate things, but when you really break it down, it's 3 simple steps. And this is step 2, and it is really that simple. It makes it more doable. It makes it more just that feeling of familiarity for everybody when we do that. So step 1 is generate a lead. Attract somebody's attention to whatever service or product that you're offering. This fits across, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It fits to anything that you're going to do. So this conversation, what you take away from here, will be, you can apply to anything forever. So that first step, generate a lead, generate interest. And then step 2 is follow up. Now, in amongst follow up, there is a few different steps, and there's some ways to think about it, and there's some more effective and less effective ways. But either way, if you just be your authentic self and do it from your own angle in a conversation base, whether it's telling story, whatever is natural to you, whether it's offline, whether it's on the phone, whether it's through text or digital, Facebook messaging, emails, it doesn't really matter because the process of it, the methodology and the way to approach it is really just the same. It's about being real. It's about building relationships and connecting and inviting people to what you have to offer. So it's really as simple as that. Before I open it up into the discussion, I'm just going to share some statistics, and I implore you to really pause on these numbers because this is where it gets powerful. And Bear is just greeting Samuel as he's coming to the door.
Is that a rat? What is that, a rodent? What is that sound?
He's a palm tree.
Because it doesn't sound like a dog. It sounds a little bit like a...
He sounds like a different kind of beast for sure, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'll take them.
Okay. In amongst that, I'm going to share these stats. There. Shush. For a little beast, he sure makes lots of noise. Okay, don't trigger him more. Okay, so 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. Can you believe that?
Wow.
8% never follow up?
Really?
Wait, what?
48%.
What's that?
That's crazy.
Unreal. 48%. Okay, so come on, people. We want to move you into the other 52%. First of all, that's our goal. That's our intention. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop. Now, remember that. 25% make the second contact and then stop. We're going to get to why that's important. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and then stop. So by contacts, that's what we're talking about here. Follow up, following up, reconnect. 10% only 10% make more than 3 follow-ups or contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. Only 2% of the sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of the sales are made on the third contact. 10% of the sales are made on the fourth. Here is the really big pivotal number. 80% of the sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact.
And what about beyond 12?
A year, and someone today joined because it's in a year later.
A year? A year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have people join in a year. Yep.
Yeah.
9.
So how powerful is that? So may I ask each of you that are here, whether live or recording, do you think it's important to follow up? Like that is mind-blowing. That right there, just those facts, not even what we're about to share with you. We're going to share how to think, some ideas on how to do the follow-up, how we do it, how it can be different, maybe how I would like to share how I kind of help Tammy and I keep track of conversations, because like she just stated, sometimes it's a year later, and it's really cool because we'll go back, and when we do follow up with people or when they come back to us, we remember details. If we're not remembering, then we just have to go back to our documents and we're like, oh yeah, we talked to you on this day and this and this, because it's important. And when you show people that they're important to you, you just elevated the possibility that they want to work with you by, I don't even know, exponentially anyways, right?
Yeah.
If you make sure that they know that you are interested in them, that they are important to you, that's probably the number one key takeaway that's important for you to have here. So
yes,
there you go. That's how you have it. It doesn't matter how you do it, through social media, or if you pick up the phone and call them, or if you send them a message, or if you send them a personal video. There's all sorts of little tips and strategies and techniques, whatever you're comfortable with. But if you could please just follow up. Okay. Tammy, over to you.
Yeah, I love following up. And you know what? Like, and once I got that with internet marketing and having a system like what you and Rob, and unfortunately I missed last week. Well, I was, the week before I was in London.
You were just goofing off.
I was goofing off over in London.
Yeah. World traveler.
Trying to keep up with everybody asking me what's going on with USI Tech. But, so I missed those 2 key components. So what Susan said, just listen, that this is kind of the third secret. It's what I call the success secret. So you got to have your sales funnel. You got to have, your lead generation that's going into your funnel. And now we're talking about follow up. So this is a natural transition into the sales process. So, and when you're following up, when I follow up, I'm pretty much asking, listen, but especially by phone. Okay. I mean, there's like Susan said, there's ways you can email market them. You can drip emails on them. I love doing drip emails. So you're putting them through your sales funnel, and then you're going to be emailing them through your autoresponder. So that's what her and I do mainly, is email marketing, and I see a lot of the people, it's from that process right on here, literally. So Walt, Phil, Karen, Jim, go on and on and on. I can list it. That's how we've, got you guys into the sales process. So we're either following up by email, and then when someone, leaves a message or whatever, then I'll try to get back to them as soon as possible. So, but when I'm calling them back, the follow-up to me is I'm building that real know, like, and trust on the phone. That's when I really, really love it, and I have a lot of fun. It's like making a new friend. I think I made two friends today. You know what I mean? It's like every single day I get up, I know I'm going to be either getting some inboxes into my Facebook messages and I'm going to be following up with them, or I'm going to be talking or texting them, through the phone. And that's it. And you know what? It's like Dan Kennedy said, I went to an information marketing boot camp way long time ago when the real estate market was actually crashing, and I said, you know what, we're gonna have to do something else. So we actually went to an information marketing boot camp, and I got to listen to Dan Kennedy, and he said exactly that, Jim. He said that you would never, don't ever stop following up. You know what he said? He goes, people will tell you either to he said the not so nice words, because that's Dan Kennedy, you know what I mean? He's like the no BS marketer. So he's like, you either, they either die. This is how point blank he said, they either die or they tell you to get lost, So that's going to be one of two things, or they just simply unsubscribe or opt out. No harm, no foul. They subscribe to your list, they can unsubscribe to your list. You know what I mean? So that's really all it is. It's a real simple process, and you don't have to make it difficult. You really don't. I think that it's got to be the easiest business under the sun. When I was doing mortgages, to follow up, I didn't have a system. I didn't have no database. Literally, I had to call on the phone. Hey, I'm following up with you. By the way, did you want to refinance your house? I mean, I was just learning. I don't even know if we had the internet. I think I might have created a website, but I mean, that was, like I said, years and many, many moons ago. That's saying many, many moons ago. I haven't said that in a while. But anyway, they make it so easy now. Technology is so amazing now to be able to put your leads into a follow-up process. And that's it. And you just can do it like a little machine. This morning, 2 new members, boom, through the whole sales funnel. We didn't even speak to one of them. I just left them a message tonight, Susan. But, so you can get actually the funnest thing, and a lot of people know what I'm talking about, is to get an automated sale, a sign up, because they're coming through that follow-up process. Now, if you're just getting started, some of this might seem like overwhelming. Don't worry about it. Once you kind of get these steps into place, it's going to be just literally like the back of your hand. So after a while, yeah, exactly. I like that. What Jim's saying there. Persistence. And that's the thing, right away, there's sometimes what they call hyper-responsive buyers. That's what Dan Kennedy called it. And it really just made sense to me, because I was like, you know what? It's like any industry or anything you're selling. They may not be interested right away, or there's going to be some that absolutely see you and see your ad, and they're like, this is what I want, and I'm going to sign up today, while others are going to take a little bit of time, to kind of say, hey, is this for me? And if they think they can do it, if you keep it that simple in your follow-up process, and if you never do any telling, selling, or explaining in your follow-up process, guess what? They're going to join. And that's the biggest thing that I had a difficulty in the beginning, was talking too much. Because I was used to explaining. I was used to really analyzing and explaining and talking about their situation. So now, it's more like they're going to tell me, this is what I want to do, Tammy, blah, this, and this. And then I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. And, that's what I want everybody to really understand. And then you just lead them back. If they don't have all the information, you lead them back to an event, to the what we call the landing page or thank you page, what I'm saying? And let them listen to it again, and then follow up again, but never ever explain it, because we don't have to. You know what I mean? That's what I think especially is important for people to know. You're not going to have to explain it. We have all those tools in place. So hopefully that's what I wanted to say right now, Susan.
Thanks, Tammy.
Sure.
Rob, what would you like to add?
Wow, it's kind of hard to add on top of that. That was really pretty comprehensive. I guess I will start, and this is funny. So this is a little bit of the kind of back and forth, because anybody that knows me, present company, of course, knows that I like to provide information. So, I find it really tough, because I agree with everything that Tammy said, and I think that it's better to actually do that, because one of the things that you have to keep in mind that in a business, in any business that we do that is an affiliate related business that is in a make money niche, whether it's high ticket or it's Bitcoin, whatever it would be, Bitcoin, anything else that's going on, it doesn't matter. It actually could be anything that you're doing that maybe we'll just classify it, we'll say anything that's a network type of a business, okay? Where when I start you, one of the things that you're doing is you're observing what it is that I do. And so not only am I providing you information, but you're also looking at and thinking, can I do what Susan's doing? Oh, do I want to do what Susan's doing? Do I like
a mentor relationship?
Kind of, but it's maybe we're not even mentoring yet. Really, almost from the first interaction, you're going to tell people, hey, all that you need to do is do what we do. And we have a system, and we have this, and we have that. But there is a little bit of back and forth that's there. And so part of the interaction that we have, they're always going to put themselves in your position. I had a conversation with a fellow. Actually, he should be on tonight. He actually just started. The other, I guess it was probably like about 4 or 5 days ago. And great guy, really sharp. He's Canadian, I will say too. So go.
That's why he's sharp.
Very sharp, And this guy, I said, one of the things that I do, I think I do it now pretty naturally, is when I'm talking to somebody, I almost naturally, I kind of adjust my conversation for who I'm talking to. I never try to be really like Mr. Super Sharp person. Unless if I was talking to, now back in the day, but before I started working in home-based business, my job was pretty sophisticated. I was like technology sales for multi-million-dollar platforms, and I was talking to some of the top CEOs, literally, of the top banks in the country. So some pretty strong muckety mucks and that are out there, where you're probably a little bit more on point than you're talking to a butcher, baker, candlestick maker from Sacramento or something like that, that's just looking to make some money. I prefer, and this is kind of how my normal conversation is, but I kind of adjust things a little bit for whoever it is that I'm talking to. And then I always feel like they're looking to get information. So on one hand, I very much look to balance out everything that Tammy had just said, like, hey, I don't really give any information. I just direct them back to the website. For sure, that is the best way overall to do it, for sure. However, I have a really hard time doing that. I got to just tell you, it's almost impossible for me to do that. So although it's really kind of a thing that I would say, yeah, I know.
I know you.
Yeah, it's like almost impossible,
I know our three-ways go on for 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
I did a three-way for somebody the other day. It was 30 minutes. That was actually kind of short.
That was short.
Yeah, that was short. Hey, but you know what? If you do a three-way with me, I will tell you, I do everything I can possibly do to help you out to have a sale, because it's that valuable to me. I try to think it's as valuable to me as it is to you. I really want to treat it that way. But anyhow, what I will always do, rather than saying, can you imagine in a three-way saying, well, I really can't give you that information. It's right on the website. John, that's really not that, I can tell you the answer, but the simplicity of it is it's on the website. I don't want to, and like I said, I love what you're saying. I think is best. I try to at least come at it as if I can to reinforce whatever information they have or they think they have. Plus, I know how ADD everybody is. And even if they went through the information, they did it halfway, and they were distracted 17 different ways. And sometimes even a business I get in and like and do and I'm excited about, sometimes it takes me like a month to go, oh my God, I never knew it was like that. I never knew it was that good. Like, that's even better than I thought that it actually was. So I take information that it took me a while to get distilled down in my own ADD brain. And so when I'll provide that to somebody, I'll look to say, hey, by the way, you might have saw this, or you might have saw that, and they'll go, yeah, I think so. And I'll say, but here's one thing that it took me a while. I say that kind of thing a lot. It took me a while to get this. Can I tell you that? And they'll say, yeah, okay, sure. And then I'll tell them this thing, and I'll go, and this, you got to understand how great, I'm talking about like I just discovered fire or something like that. So I love the whole idea of go to the website, and at the same time, I don't really follow that recipe all that much, and I try to make things as short as I can. But for one thing, for sure, when I'm talking to somebody, I want them to know that, number one, they're going to be fully supported. Number two, that they're talking to somebody that's really knowledgeable, present company, of course, included. And that, we're really available to support everybody that's there. In terms of the numbers, gotta love Susan, how awesome she is, that she's always got the details and the numbers and things like that, because I always tell people, I will say most people, when they generate a lead, they actually never, ever follow up. They just don't. I'm sorry, but your autoresponder, your email autoresponder is not going to be sufficient. The only reason it even exists is so that I would almost say, so that they see your name, they see your name, they see your name. I don't even know. You'd have to have an autoresponder that's probably 50 messages to where, at least with me, I'll see stuff and finally I'll think, God, man, I've been getting I get emails. It's almost ridiculous how many emails I get from this person. And then finally I'll click and I'll go, that's pretty good, actually. So one last thing I'll say quickly is that I love about the follow-up process that we have here, particularly with anything that we're doing with Unstoppable and all the businesses and things like that, is I love Joe's radio show in the morning. It's just the best. We're talking, of course, about Titum and whatnot, typically in his radio show, high ticket. But one of the things that I like about it is it's dynamic on a daily basis. So it's always different what he's doing. And so what that allows me to do in an authentic way is I can follow up with people, people every single day and say, jump on. It's great. It's cool. And although there's not a pitch, although there's not a comp plan, although there's not anything, people get the whole vibe of what it is that we do, that, hey, I'm with some people that are actually going to support me. And they like that a lot. And so it gives me, I don't want to say an excuse, but it gives me a reason to follow up on a consistent basis. So no matter what you're doing, having live calls and things like that on a daily basis is something that you for sure want to have. No question.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that, especially nowadays, because it sets us apart from any other groups. I mean, I've seen a lot of groups, with follow-ups, but they do hangouts and they do, massive numbers and stuff like that, and they never even talk to people on the phone. And I think what you just described, Rob, is really what sets us apart, and what we train and teach people to do is what Jim's talking about right there, is humanizing, and keeping it real. We've talked about this before, Susan. Susan coined the phrase humanizing the digital realm. I think people just really want to, in the follow-up process, feel like they're special, feel like they're going to be at a certain, at home, sitting here and talking with one another. This is a follow-up process for them. People getting to know, and Susan's done this for years, and it's how her and I met. So,
yep.
It works. And what I also liked about what you said, Rob, is it's going to be different for each. We have multiple offers here, through the Unstoppable. So what you're saying is, and like the Bitcoin opportunity, for example, that's a little bit of a different follow-up conversation, And then, for the digital products that we sell, it's a little bit of a different follow-up process. So whatever your offer is, like we've taught before, each of these are kind of quote unquote an offer, right? In the internet marketing space, they're called. So I like what you said there. That's really key for a lot of people to understand that, as you're learning your business and getting to know it, then you'll know exactly the different questions they ask, and we try to, of course, if they have questions, get them on three-way. We can help, especially in the beginning. That follow-up process then goes into the three-way. Like I'll tell them all the time, three-way me in. Don't answer the questions in the beginning. Don't even have, just listen to how I'm talking, and following up with that person. So we've done that in the past too in trainings. We've done role playing. What did I just say? Role playing, right, Susan?
Yep.
We've done role playing and role playing on here, and in training. So I just think that there's a great value of what you just said there tonight, Rob, for that.
Good. I get one once in a while.
You always do. So I wrote down three words here. So if we can kind of loop it all together and give a good picture of where the follow-up can come into play, and it can come into play at many different points. But I wrote down three words: leverage, human, and digital. And so let me tie all those in together. Now, first of all, those numbers that you referred back to, Rob, and the reason why I started that out is
I already forgot them too. Can you tell them real quick? I already forgot them.
The numbers or those three words?
Yeah, just know the numbers real quick. Like nobody follows up. How many people follow up one time?
Okay, I'm gonna go back to that, but I'm gonna say why I started with those numbers.
Okay, for the remedial people.
Yeah, I will. The reason why I started with those is, and y'all will notice I almost always start with that. If we know why, like if there's some sort of impact, that if we know why, then maybe we'll step into action and do that, right? So the numbers are the why. 48% of people never follow up with their prospects.
Incredible.
Like, what? All those sales are just sliding away because you just don't follow up? Whoa. Put your hat on. Let's go. 25% of people only make a second follow-up, a second connection, and then they stop. What? 12% of people only make 3 contacts and then stop. 10% make more than, only 10% of the people in sales in this position make more than 3 connections.
Wow.
So we're of the 10%, right?
Wow. How many make like 30 connections?
And only 2% of the sales are made on that first contact. 3% of the sales are made on the second contact, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and 80% of the sales are made after the 5th contact. That's crazy.
But the cool thing is, so here's the thing. One of the things I'll say is it's funny because we're saying sales, and then on the other hand we say we're not salespeople. So
it's just for lack of a better word, right?
Yep.
Change.
But, here's the thing. I guess I would probably say.
Yeah, we're marketers, right?
Yeah, we're not telemarketers. So what I guess I would probably say is, we say, hey, we're not salespeople, but if you're married, if you have a job, if you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right, you're in sales. Everybody is in sales. All that it is, it's just influencing something, okay? Whether or not it's something for that's going to be for your benefit, or you just want to recommend a restaurant or a movie, or something like that. And if you, like I said, if you're married, I'm sorry, you're in sales. We have to.
Right.
If you got a job, yeah. Can you imagine going in to get a job and saying, yeah, I really don't want to sell you. I'm going to be late. I'm going to come in sometimes and sometimes not. I really don't care whether you hire me or not. I mean, you're going to tell them, hey, I'm great. I hung the moon. So anyhow, the cool thing is that we're doing is really back to Tammy's point in terms of we don't have to call people up and say, let me explain how the comp plan works. And please forgive me if I gave anybody the impression of saying I provide more information. My assumption always, if I ever talk to somebody and they have not been to a website and they have no clue whatsoever, I'll spend almost no time whatsoever in explaining that. And instead I'll quickly defer and go, yeah, one of the first things you should do is go to the presentation. But I find often, in the context of my comment before, was they've already been there and they kind of still don't get it because most people usually don't. Yeah,
And don't assume that they've watched the video.
yeah, we don't assume that and ask some questions. I mean, it's really, this is kind of
Yeah,
all about
questions.
rapport and some common sense. Hey, what kind of things do you not understand, or what, where are you at with stuff? But there should be kind of normal type of questions. We don't have to be salespeople. And for anybody that's brand new at all, for sure, all that you want to sell is you want to sell somebody to get on a call. You want to sell somebody to get on it, to get on a three-way. And actually, even doing a three-way is almost a whole nother small little training. I don't usually like to get permission to say, hey, can I have somebody please I'd like you to talk to Tammy. How's 1 o'clock? I usually would just say, hey, do you want to see how our system works? We don't actually have to answer any questions. And do you have a quick minute? You want to see how it works? It's the coolest thing. We don't have to answer any questions. I'll see it. Okay, sure. Okay, I got a minute. Okay, hang on. I'm going to put you on hold. I put him on hold. I call up Tammy. I say, hey, Tammy, I've got Fred on the line here. And Fred is a baker from Sacramento. And he's looking at our business and so on and so on. Do you have a quick second? You can talk to Fred. Yeah, sure. Great. Hey, Fred, I said that we don't have to answer any questions. I wanted to introduce you to Tammy because Tammy's going to answer your questions, So, but on all the sales stuff, we do follow up, okay? They're on an information gathering kind of quest. We want to be normal, real people with people, and you can say there's no reason to say, hey, by the way, we're doing another live call tonight, or my once in the morning is, as usual, I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm going to listen to the call this morning. As usual, I'm jumping on, and here's the info. Text me back, something like that. And then eventually they do. They're like, God, man. I had a guy that said he and his wife used to
I'll
laugh.
do it, okay.
Huh?
Yeah, they're like, I'll do it, okay.
Yeah, I had this guy, and he used to laugh. He goes, I got to tell you, my wife and I. He's a member now. He goes, my wife and I used to laugh. Every time I would get a text message or an email from you, we laughed because it was like, oh my God, like this guy, a lot of the times I'm just sending a broadcast email that takes me a minute, Sometimes
Right.
just sending a broadcast text that takes me a minute.
You're sending it individually, yeah. And it's actually in your broadcast.
Exactly. And then sometimes it is individually on the phone, but they go, God, that guy follows up all the time. And they understand I can follow up with everybody. And then the people that engage back are the ones that I spend a little bit of time with. And I start to understand who they are. Plus, you can always scroll down in your phone. You can scroll, and see that they were going to a family reunion. You could say something, hey, with a family reunion, or how you feeling, or how's your daughter, or how was Connecticut, or how was something like that. That they actually, it's not like it's magic science. You can just kind of flip through real quick and you can see, oh yeah, that was the guy that was doing such and such. So, anyhow.
Yeah, and the thing is like, sometimes people don't even respond. Like, I'll follow up so much that I think I am. And I see what Jim said there too. You think you're actually bugging the person, but you know what? If they're not telling you to stop, you can still follow up. That's pretty much the rule. So there's times where people are just like, you know what? I'm busy right now, or it's not the right timing. Well, guess what? I'll just say, well, make sure you're on our list, and that's what I'll tell them in that follow-up process. So if they're not on the list or they're not in the Facebook group, I'll actually lead them to it, if that makes sense to you guys, because there's so many times where I'm doing the calls and I'm following up and stuff like that, and I'm like, I used to not even ask or collect the decision, Karen, when I first started out, but now it's just like sort of second nature. My whole conversation just flows. You just get used to it. But I always say, and I did it with 2 of them this week already, Debbie and I don't know, Phil. I just said to you tonight, we're always posting in the Facebook group. Make sure you're always checking for the Hangout mentors, so he knows I did that. So you're always just leading them back right to where they found you, in other words. And then you guys can use the same process, which is really super cool. So this is really duplicatable when you think about it.
Yeah.
What we're doing here tonight, it's really duplicatable. You're just the tour guides. You're just tour guiding them through the process. We're highly paid tour guides in the follow-up process. I look at it like in London, taking the tour to Stonehenge, and you're getting in the bus and Susan teaches the magic bus
Magic bus.
strategy, and you're just tour guiding them through, right, Susan?
Exactly.
Absolutely. Now, I almost forget what I was going to say. Man, I got a hot topic tonight. I can't get a word in edgewise here. I'm teasing. This is all really good. Okay, these
And I haven't talked for 2 weeks, so I'm like,
you got me and Tammy. What do you?
I know, right?
I mean, seriously, you're sandwiched on my little thing here between Tammy and I. There's just, I mean, come on. What do you expect?
group hug right now.
Okay. Okay, so leverage, human, and digital. I want to talk about those 3 words and what that has to do with follow-up. Okay, shh. Can I do this?
I threw away the key.
Oh, wait, I got something I want to say.
Oh, no, you don't.
I'm just kidding.
Remember, I have the buttons here. I can just get you out.
Yeah, where's the hook?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start with the 3rd word, digital. What's really cool with what we have now in this day, in this time, is the internet. We have the ability through digital technology to reach so many people, right? So that allows us to expand how many people we can reach to see if they're interested, and to do that initial grab their attention and invite them. So that's the word digital. And then last week we talked about the anatomy of the funnel and how you can put people through. So that's the digital process. That's the systemized part of this. And that can look however you want it to be. It can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be, but it's a digital process. So let's step into the human part. And Jim was pointed out some parts of that. And this whole conversation is the human part. So at any point in that digital process, when the person is interested, they'll show you signs. So they'll either reply to one of your emails, or they'll register a free account or something, or they'll attend one of these events or some sort of trigger. Then that's the point that you would want to do something personal, either reach out and text them or something and say, hey, I noticed you were on here. Or maybe they asked a question if they're in a Facebook group or something. And that's where your human touch point is. Like Jim said, and you'll notice in all of our emails and messages, there's pictures, there's videos, there's that human touch. And wherever you can send them a video, maybe even a personal video, or if you're instant messaging them on social media, rather than always doing it typed text messages, do a voice. You can do a voice clip or send a quick video. Any time that you can make a special effort to humanize it, do that human touch, you're going to increase the impact of your connection, your follow-up. And then leverage. I wanted to expand on that word because it's been mentioned by both Tammy and Rob. Leverage the power of events. So this is one of them. Any of you that took the time to follow up with your prospects, just like we took the time to follow up with you and invite you here, leverage the power of us, leverage the power of events, leverage the impact of it all. Rob has mentioned the radio show. Joe is so dynamic and interactive and so skilled at what he does, and with all of his radio shows in the week. So whether it's for the Tidum, Pure Profit Pro, or U Economy, those radio shows are available and interactive. People can press 1 and come on out. So leverage that, and then leverage again 3 ways. How many times have we mentioned the ability of a 3-way? You leverage us and reach out to us and ask us to come on a call with you and do a 3-way. So those 3 words, if you think about the power of them, so digital, expand your reach, and these email processes, you can send out a broadcast email, a broadcast text to all of the people that have showed interest on your list, and keep on dripping information, dripping invites, dripping information, and they see your name, the content, your name, the content, pictures. It's repetitive. So you're going to be in their thoughts, right? So digital Make sure you have the human touch points wherever possible, and then leverage the community, the live events, the recorded value. Wow. And all of that is in place for follow-up, and do it as naturally as possible. On the inside, we have trainings in place that go like specific. They give you ideas, in fact, and it'll be someplace. I don't know where else, but right now it's sitting in AMP. I put together a list of open-ended questions just to help you, give you an idea of how to get this question and answer process going. That we've been doing it for years, so it comes naturally, but you can just read through them, and then they would give you ideas of what kind of questions to ask them to help get them talking, show that you're interested, and help you get to know them, their needs, and how what you have to offer as a solution. So that's I kind of wanted to round circle and kind of pull it all together with those 3 really powerful words. Thanks for letting me get that out. Whew. It was just dying inside me.
Yeah, you've been able to talk for 2 weeks. I haven't.
It's so funny. As I was talking and I was kind of on my roll there, in my brain, I'm thinking, oh my God, I have so much information I want to get out. I don't even have enough time. I'm trying to talk faster. I love it. Just so that I don't forget.
There's one thing too, I think, in the follow-up process, a lot of people, and I get this, especially when you're new, and they can sense a new person from the get-go, is control of the conversation. A lot of times people are going to say, well, what about this business compared to your business? What about this thing compared to your thing? And I still get it. I still got it today. And I said, listen, stop going to YouTube. Stop, Googling and all this stuff. You're in our funnel. Check out what we have. We've already done the due diligence. We're full time at this. We've already picked out, the business opportunities that work and that pay. So let's just keep it within. You know what I mean? So, but people will get finger happy, and people love Googling and Susan, and what's that Susan word that's, people will love to go Facebook and stuff like that and check different things. But when you're in that conversation of the follow-up, keep that control and just tell them the benefits of what we just talked about tonight. I think that's a huge key, and that will help you guys skyrocket your business to the next level. I know that when my sponsor told me that in the beginning, and she said, you're going to get a lot of objections, and I'm like, oh no, what's that word? And in this process, but keep the control and just let them know that we have already done all that research for them, essentially.
There's only 3 questions that I ask everybody, and to dial it down, if you're brand new and you're thinking, oh God, some of this is above my head, or maybe you're a real seasoned salesperson and you're thinking this is so basic. But either way, what I call it is, I like to call what we talk about on the phone, I like to call it a Christmas party conversation. Everybody's gone to the Christmas party. There's people that you don't know. It's kind of small talk a little bit. Well, you know what? It's not non-threatening. It's a Christmas party conversation. There's 3 questions I always ask everybody. And first of all, to leapfrog off of Tammy's comment, one thing you should write down is, he who asks the questions is in control of the conversation. Yep. And by the way, you can answer a question and then at the end of it, have another question and then kind of take back control of the conversation, because you're the one that's actually the boss. Always remember, by the way, in the follow-up process, here's one thing to really differentiate it, maybe to come back around my sales talk thing and to say we're all in sales, it is a little bit different, okay? Because what we're doing here is actually like an interview, a little bit, okay? So we can kind of choose who we work with and who we don't work with and things like that. So it's not the same thing as please buy my widget, all right? I'm going to spend my time training you. There's a little bit of something that I want to know that I like. I like to just say, I like you and you like me. So there's always a little bit kind of an edge, or at least I like to think, in a conversation that I have with somebody. Maybe I mention to them in passing, by the way, one of the great things I like about this business, I could choose who I work with. That's what I call like a shot that you fire kind of over the bow. It's reading between the lines, Or I might even say the cool thing is, sometimes I like to say, we don't even know each other. They already know that, by the way. I like to acknowledge things that they know. So I'll say, we don't know each other. We're going to figure out whether I like you and you like me. That's another one right there too. And I told them, I got to figure out if I like you, by the way. So
classic takeaway.
A little bit like it, but it's really true. So the 3 questions that I always ask, and you can train everybody to do this, and there's a phrase, first of all, so I'll go 3 questions, and then there's point 0 in the front. Number 1, what the phrase I always use, the magic phrase when somebody's opted in is, or even if you bought a lead for that matter, is quote unquote, and right up front in the conversation, hey Bob, hey Mary, hey Fred. This is Rob Hanley calling you from Seattle, Washington. I always let that sit for a half a second. They're thinking, I don't know you. Who are you? I let it sink for half a second. And then I will say, I'm actually getting back to you. And I usually say it kind of like that. I don't say it fast. I don't say it slow. I say, I'm actually getting back to you. And you could actually say that exact. My daughter's making something. This is what happens when I'm not in my office and I'm in the kitchen and people are cooking back here. So I'm actually getting back to you. And then I let that stop for a full second that they're thinking. And then I'll repeat it again. I'll say, yeah, I'm getting back to you. I'll say it twice. You went to my website. You're looking at some of what I'm doing, my private little gold buy, whatever it is. And, I'm getting back to you to get you a little bit of information, because that's all they're looking to do is get information. So that's the first part of it, is I'm getting back to you. That kind of is the keys to the kingdom. It gives you're not cold calling. I'm getting back to you. And then the 3 questions are, sometimes I ask them, hey, you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? Which again kind of tells them this is an interview. I'll just tell them, but it's Christmas party conversation. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do for work? That's my first question. Sometimes I'll add on there to what do you do for work? I'll say, what do you do for work? How do you pay the bills? But tell me a little bit about yourself. So they'll say, oh, I'm a taxidermist from Timbuktu, and I'm a such and such, and oh, great.
Candlestick maker.
Candlestick maker. And so something smells like it's burning over there, by the way, Deborah. I don't want to be doing a call and there's the fire going in the kitchen.
There's a big flame in the background.
Hey, yeah, we're real people here.
The second question is, why are you looking? Tell me, hey, why are you looking, by the way? And the third question is, how much would you like to make? Tell me, what do you do? Why are you looking? How much would you like to make? And you can ask, sometimes I'll say, I always have a few questions that if you don't mind, I can ask you a couple of questions. I like to ask, and I'll just tell them the questions, blah, 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 and they'll tell me everything. Then they start talking and go, well, okay, great. Unless they're looking for $100 a month, I usually will tell them, if they tell you, well, I'd like to make $25,000 a month, I'll say, it's very doable with what we do here. I mean, that's real doable. You could do that. 30,000, 50,000. I had a guy say, I'd like to make 100,000. I said, probably not going to do it in the first month, but you could do it in the first few months if you wanted to, if you got after it. Wow. Really? Yeah, really. Yeah. So those are my things.
I love that. That's some awesome golden nuggets. I hope you wrote notes down, because those are really good examples of.
Yeah. In other words, questions. Don't be intimidated. Just go with the flow. You know what I mean? You never should be intimidated. They're contacting you. They requested the information from you, not the other way around. We never do any chasing either. That's actually one of really, that's how I first found businesses like this. Is it said, no chasing, no cold calling, no, you know what I mean? And it's just really that kind of thing, you know what I mean, where people are coming to you. So that means in the follow-up process is that someone has that.
I'm getting back to you. That's the whole, I'm getting back to you. You contacted me.
Exactly.
And what do you guys do for if somebody doesn't answer their phone?
I always leave a message. Some people don't.
How many messages do you leave? What if they don't call you back after you leave a message? Then what do you do?
Text them.
And if they don't reply, do you call? How many times do you call them without getting a call back? Huh?
I usually do probably 3 or 4 calls. Now that Susan put that in there, I don't know.
You guys do this. This is one
It'd
thing
be
I
like
do.
10, 20. No, I'm just kidding.
No. So this is one thing I will do is I'll share a little bit of my secret sauce. Is that okay? Not that I have the answer to everything.
Oh yeah, sure.
So one of the things I do is I will I'll call them. I find very often when I call them, they don't answer. I'd say probably a large percentage of the time, maybe 80%, maybe
I was just
90.
going to say probably about 8 out of 10.
They don't.
Yeah,
People don't answer the
text more
phone.
often than answer the phone anymore.
Yeah, I'll usually text them afterwards, and I just copy. Yep, I'll usually text them afterwards, and I actually set up on my iPhone under the keyboard settings. I set up a text replacement. Okay, I have several little shortcut things that I will, type in TTEXT is like one of my short codes, and it pops up a whole paragraph. And then I just change the name and some stuff like that. So that's one thing that I'll do. I'll send them a text message. Hey, I just left you a voicemail. They're probably not going to listen to it. So, but on the calling itself, I will call 2 times. The first time I call and I say, hey, Tammy, this is, I'll get your voicemail. And I'll say, hey, Tammy, this is Rob Hanley giving you a call from Seattle, Washington. I say it kind of like this, by the way, too. I try not. And by the way, if you are more sophisticated and you're used to whatever, you need to bring it down a little bit. And by the way, you never ask for, may I please speak to Tammy Montgomery? I am sorry. Throw that out the window. Absolutely. Even if that's the kind of, you're a grammar person and a punctuation and a precision and you want to be a professional, throw it away completely. You want to say, hi, when they answer the phone, hey, Tammy. That's how I always. I don't say, man, please speak to. You want them to think that it's a bill collector. Yeah, you don't want them thinking it's a bill collector or something like that, okay? Or some kind of official, like, what's this concerning? Like, here's all my barriers up. You want to be like it's a friend. So, and that's another thing. So the next part, quickly though, is I'll leave them a message and I'll say, I won't say like this message is for Tammy Montgomery or something like that, or it's all like Mr. Professional Banker person or mortgage broker. I'm calling about your loan origination. Friendly, okay? Or this is the IRS calling you. It's not like that. It's friendly. So you say, hey, this is how I would say, hey, Tammy, this is Rob Hanley getting back to you. And you had gone, you had actually gone to my website, so I'm returning your call, so to speak. You'd gone to my website, and it doesn't have to be perfect, by the way. You'd gone to my website, you put your information in, you were looking for some information about what I'm doing with ABC, et cetera. And it's really awesome. It's, pretty amazing. Anyhow, here's my phone number. Do you see here's my phone number. It's such and such and such and such. Whenever you have a chance, give me a call back. You can also text me. I'm kind of out running around. If I miss your call, I'll return it. Okay, thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Now, I just did that. Now, if they don't call back, and I will tell you, most of the time, they do not call you back, okay? Just going to tell you, they won't. So when I call a second time, I will call a second time, and even if I remembered that I called them yesterday or the day before, typically I will say, hey, Tammy, Rob Hanley, I think I'm calling you again. I'm not really sure if I called you the first time or not. I think I called you on Monday or maybe yesterday. Yeah, probably pretty sure. Kind of talking to myself in their voicemail. Anyhow, I'm getting back to you. You had gone to my website the other day. You're looking at what I'm doing. I think I called, but you didn't call me back. So anyhow, here's the thing. I'm not going to call you back again. So this is my last message to you. If you are looking to find more information, here's my phone number. And if not, then I just wish you all the best and happy trails down the road. But I'm not going to be calling you back again. So I hope to hear from you. Take care. Bye-bye. And then I don't call them back. And so sometimes you'll have people say, my God, like you really meant it. Like they're shocked. Well, yeah, I don't chase anybody. Like, I got other people to follow up with. I don't really care whether you start or you don't. And that's kind of the whole, I assume that I do 2 calls. That's it.
That's cool. That's cool. We don't have that kind of specific cutoff, but anybody that's on the document So we've got a set of documents, one per month, for the people who have filled out a callback request. So those are separate. So they filled out a form specifically requesting a callback. So those people get 3 no answers. And we don't really put a number on the voice messages, but it's just noted. And then they're still on the list, but you don't keep on calling them. So they'll get the follow-ups or the text messages or whatever. And then the other people that we call, yeah, I don't have a definitive timeline, which that's kind of
No.
cool to be very specific. This is the only time we're calling you, but we don't chase, definitely. And I definitely support that. Like, don't you would never want to give anybody the impression that you're chasing them and that you'll be there indefinitely. Oh, I'm just going to call you every week. Not at all. You just make a few calls, and then the ball is back in their court, because if they're interested,
Yeah, it really is.
they're going to
Yeah,
reach
there's so
out. They're
many
going to call
leads
you.
coming in now.
Hmm. Nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, what I find, and I'm not sure if you both find the same thing, but when they do answer, or if they do call you back, they're surprised and kind of excited to hear from you, because this kind of interaction, when somebody leaves you their phone number or fills out a form that's stated to be a callback request, they're surprised to get a call, because
No one does it
most
anymore.
people
Do you guys
don't
text
do that
first?
kind of thing.
Do you guys ever text first?
Yeah.
Well, we upload them into easytexting.com and with the leads that we generate, because Susan has the callback form.
Does that merge their
That's
name
what we do.
into or no?
Do a broad text
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I'm always texting.
I upload the whole file. So in that same file is their name, their phone number, and their email. So then if they respond to the text broadcast, the name is with them. So
Oh, cool. So do you merge? Does it merge? What is it called? Easy texting what?
easytexting.com.
So does it merge all their name and information on a text by text by text, or is it just a broadcast exactly the same message to everybody? Does it say, "Hey Susan, hey Tammy, hey Fred, hey Rob, hey"?
Oh yeah, no, you can. You can put just like in an email, you can put the code that you could do for like first name if you put the short code.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I always, this is my process is like I just did tonight. You know, a lot of people, I'm getting text messages right now on Facebook as we're talking, because, you know, the just things that we have out there for advertising. But, you know, for example, the last guy that just signed up within the past hour, I mean, I left him a message before the hangout, and then now I just texted him while we're doing this. So, because there's a cutoff at certain point at night, it's 10 o'clock. Technically, you should stop at 9 o'clock Eastern. Really, any phone calling and texting and follow up. But sometimes, you know, into the wee hours of the morning, I'm getting texts and messages. Last night, we had a guy that signed up, and I'm helping him get signups already. So, you know, it's a fast-paced. Sometimes it's fast-paced. It depends on how many leads you're generating, you know, for follow-up. I mean, I like to generate between 50 to 300 a day, to be honest, when we're really moving and grooving and really generating leads. You know, and then just take the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And I learned how to do that because of homeschooling the kids. I mean, I wouldn't have time to really be on the phone a lot to, you know, with homeschooling Amanda and then Robbie back to back. Now that the kids are out of the house and I'm empty nest syndrome, sure, I have a lot more time to, you know, to follow up. It just really depends on your desire and your schedule, really. So if you don't, like I said to Susan, I think we were on a live stream. If you really don't like sales, you can generate so many leads. Just concentrate on your lead flow, and, you know, and sure, following up by phone call, but sometimes people don't even follow up by phone call unless they call you. I know a lot of marketers like that, you know. But if you do have the time and you're full time at this, and you can follow up with a phone call, hey, that's going to increase your ratio. You know, the metrics is what they call it. It's going to increase that. I was taught by a guy. He did slide dial. You know, the guy made $50,000 to $100,000 a month. He taught me all these different lead generation and then taught me slide dial and follow up. So
You did a great training on slide dial about a year ago. I'd love to see that training again. That was pretty cool training.
sure, I'll do that again.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at the top of the hour. And so I guess to kind of wrap this up with a neat little bow, this is this conversation tonight. And thank you, both Tammy and Rob. This has been a humorous, dynamic, packed with gold conversation. So
Don't you guys just love getting leads? I love getting leads. I
yeah,
love when people opt in. I love it. And by
it's
the
my
way,
favorite thing.
if you're ever getting frustrated, if you find yourself getting frustrated, because man, I remember when I first got started in high ticket, particularly in home business full time. I was coming off of like 250,000 a year income, and then I was going to reinvent myself online. And I remember talking to a pizza guy one time. I called to follow up. Is it okay? I'll tell a quick story. I know we're past the thing, but this is entertaining at least. And this is important, by the way. This is one that you should write down. Okay, yeah, I'll make this entertaining. So this was the same process. I was marketing Liberty League back in the day is what it was, by the way. It was like 2005. And so I called this guy who's a lead I got or whatever. And when I called him the first time, he was like a 22-year-old, like a 22-year-old pizza delivery person. And but he's really sharp. And he went to the call, and the process was, get him on the call and follow up with them, etc. So I called this guy, and I called him back after. I'm thinking this guy's going to join for sure. Like, we hit it off. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's a pizza delivery person, but he's for sure going to join, So anyhow, I get some girl answers the phone, and she goes, "No, he's not here right at the minute. He's not here." And then I hear, "Who is it? Who's calling? Who is it?" And she goes, "Well, can I say who's calling?" Maybe they asked me ahead of time, "Who's calling?" "Yeah, this is Rob Hanley, and I'm just getting back to Marvin, and he's such and such." "It's Marvin. It's Rob Hanley." So I hear like this whispering, "Oh, I'm not here right now." So yeah, he's not here. He's not here right now. And I thought, man, I was furious. I'm thinking, I make $200,000 a year, and I'm trying to market a business to a pizza delivery is blowing me off. Are you kidding me? So I was really angry about this. So I will tell you this: when I started buying leads, which is different than running traffic,
Right.
buying leads. Okay, I got to tell you, they're cheap, but you take a little bit of licks. And I remember calling people, and I got hung up on. It's like, what? Are you freaking kidding? Now, even those people on a lead, on a lead, you're still going to say, "I'm getting back to you. I'm getting back to you. My assistant hooked me up. My assistant, such one of our partners, I'm getting back to you." But those people, you get toothless, over the tracks. They've been on welfare for 27 years, and I'm trying to market them something, that's going to cost them a few grand to come in. And here's what I did is I started thinking to myself, this is back in the day when we had landlines. And what I would do is I would call a lead, and I had this stuck to my ear, and I had this finger over the hang up button. And I started thinking, just say one thing. Say one thing that I don't like, because my finger is a 1/4 inch from hanging up on you, and you can deliver pizzas for the rest of your life because you're not going to talk. So the whole thing is you would never let somebody talk to your kid in a bad way, right? Nobody's ever going to walk up to my kid and say something that's going to hurt their feelings in any kind of capacity. I'll knock their block off, right? So you have to protect your own ego a little bit as well. And so we're nice, we're friendly. At the same time, I got a bite. Now I'll just hang up on you. I have even recently, by the way, when I'm talking to somebody and they have hung up, I've had people hang up on me. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I'm Rob Hanley. You're hanging up on me? I've had them hang up on me, and I've called them back. And I'm now I should have a thicker skin, but I call them back and I'll say, "Hey, I think we just got cut off because I can't even possibly imagine that you would be that rude that you would actually hang. Are you kidding me that you would hang up? If you did hang up on me, however, then I just wish you the best, like doing whatever you're doing, I suppose. But so don't, if you feel that way, just know it happens for everybody. And the cure for all of this, to come back to the happy positive of all of it, the cure for all of this is just run more traffic. Just get more new people in, because you'll immediately forget.
Yep.
Who was that? You don't even remember. You're just looking for somebody that wants to play ball. It's your ball. You get to choose who you're going to play with. You don't need to beg somebody. When you're at the playground, you don't have to beg somebody to play ball with you. It's my ball. If somebody treats you mean or says something like that, you tell them, hey, forget, no problem. It's my ball. And you find somebody else. There's a million people that want to play ball, and you're just looking for people that want to play ball. That's all.
Yep. Good analogy.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
So to wrap it all up, tonight has been, and we've gone more to the phone calls, because that's just where we migrated to part of the conversation, and how to manage your phone calls and how to do the phone calls. But follow up is more than just about making phone calls when they've given you the number. There's the automated part of the follow up, which is really important. That's a part of your whole funnel, and you want to have that part. And then there's the part where you're going to either text them or respond by social media, etc. So there's different pieces to the follow-up, but I would hope that the overall intention of this discussion tonight impacts upon you and impresses upon you the importance of follow-up, the follow-up process, all of the little integral steps that you could possibly do, the automated part, the manual part, and just the triggers that to know when people are interested and when you should step up your follow-up. Or if somebody has mentioned to you maybe 2 weeks ago that they were interested but now wasn't a good time, then you're going to make note of them on some sort of list, and then follow up with them later to say, hey, we had this conversation and you said it wasn't a good time but you were interested, so I'm just checking in with you, or something like that. So overall, that's the intention here. If you have any questions with what we've said, or if you have a specific area that you would like, we can build out on that in a specific Hangout with Mentors or training. For example, Rob mentioned when we were talking about 3 ways that would be something worth itself in a whole conversation. And we have done that actually on Hangout with Mentors. I'd have to look back. I think it's somewhere, it must be about close to a year ago. We had an entire hour discussion about the power of leveraging and doing 3 ways, how to do them, and we just what they can accomplish and how great they can be. Is it a lost art? In fact, I think was what it was called. It was the 3-way, a lost art, and it is really a valuable technique. So that's just one example of how we can piece apart the follow-up process and discuss it multiple times. So make sure that your feedback is important, and it helps guide as to what the future topics of Hangout with Mentors would be. We appreciate it. And I noticed that everyone stayed for the entire hour. So thank you. We appreciate you, that we do this for you. So thank you for that. Your questions, your presence is important to us. And if you're watching this recording, get back with whoever invited you to watch it, and let them know your feedback, your questions, if you're not already working with us or them, and ask them how to get started. And that's about all I have to say. Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Rob. This has been fun.
Always fun. Thanks for always putting it on. Thanks for always thinking of great topics. Thanks for organizing it. Thanks for facilitating it. Thanks for all that.
I think next week we will pull apart another piece of the follow-up. Just watch for the announcements and see what it'll be, and then we're going to circle back to some social media, because we did 5 in a row of various different social medias. So I think we're going to pop back into social media, but next week I think we'll do something to do with follow-up again, just so that we keep kind of the flow and the transition. And build upon that. But
great. I love talking with you guys. So we actually need to do a video on something different, by the way. So
yes,
we've
yes,
been
we do
talking about
actually.
it for months. So
Yeah.